All right. Well, we are 2 minutes past 10, so we might kick off officially. Kia ora koutou, ko Rebecca Lowe toko ingoa. For those of you who don't know me, I am the Director of Communications at the Sustainable Business Council, and I am delighted to welcome you all to today's online taster session of the Sustainability Leadership Program, or SLP, as we like to affectionately refer to it. I'd love to begin this session with a short whakatauki to open our time together, and I have selected Poipoia te kakano kia puawai. Nurture the seed and it will blossom. This is a personal favourite whakatauki of mine, but it always feels completely appropriate for a course of this nature, which really does nurture and develop those who take part in it. I'm absolutely thrilled this morning to be joined by a lineup of wonderful wahine, including Andrea Thompson, who is the co-CEO and co-founder of Catapult and who facilitates this program. Andrea is a graduate of many international programs, including Harvard Kennedy School and Cambridge Institute of Sustainability Leadership. So she is a true sustainability leadership expert. And we're also delighted to be joined by two of our 2025 SLP graduates, Shannon Ball and Kim Jones, who will share some personal reflections a little bit later in the session. So before we kick off a bit more fulsomely, just a couple of housekeeping notes. Please do stay on mute, but please do turn your video on. We would love to see you and see who we've got here this morning. And based on that, can we get a little bit of a raised hands from who is here from connections or word of mouth from other people this morning? It's always nice to see who has been connected by who and how those connections kind of ripple through groups of people who might not have met each other before. So over the next hour, we're going to run through a format where we'll take you through the benefits and the key details of the program. You'll gain insights from Kim and Shannon, and you'll actually get to participate in a mini session yourself to get a real feel for what SLP is all about. We'll also be holding lots of space for questions. So if you do have any questions, pop them through to chat and we will filter them throughout this session this morning. So why the Sustainability Leadership Program? Well, for SBC, we're a membership organisation comprised of nearly 130 businesses who are committed to an Aotearoa where business, people and nature thrive. A key area of focus for us is building capability and sustainability across our businesses, and SLP is a really critical component of that work. We've been delighted to be partnering with Catapult since 2017 to deliver this program, which actually makes this the 10th year and anniversary, which is very exciting for us. And it really has never felt more important to the work we're doing as an organisation and as individuals as we continue to grapple with increasingly complex operating environments and the multiple social, environmental and economic challenges ahead of us. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Sustainability Professionals research, which runs each year, but SBC partners on it. And last year's research once again reiterated that while the profession is gaining strategic traction, only 12% of our professionals believe their current training is adequately preparing them for the demands of their role. So we really see SLP as a vital way to help equip our professionals with the tools they need to tackle these challenges, grow their confidence, and really empower them to make measurable impact. So I'm sure plenty of you on the call will be wondering who exactly is SLP for and is it for me? Quick answer, yes, definitely. I guess ultimately it's for any professional in a leadership position who has an accountability for sustainability. And I think it's important to remember that's no longer just the domain of people with sustainability in their title, as more and more parts of the business become responsible for sustainability and climate-related outcomes. I'm a prime example of that. I work in communications, but I was lucky enough to participate in the 2022 cohort. And not only did I walk away with an incredible toolkit of skills and ways of thinking, I think most importantly, the course also provided me with a network of like-minded peers to share my ideas, thinking and experiences with. And that network is truly invaluable. It's something we regularly hear from participants expressing how much of a positive it is taking that away from the program. So if we flick onto the next slide, you'll be able to see the extensive range of organisations and businesses that we've had participating in the course over the last decade. And really regularly, we're having participants report that they're obviously not just drawing benefits for themselves, but really deep value for the organisations that they're representing as well. So for a slightly deeper dive into those benefits, it's my absolute pleasure to hand over to Andrea.
Kia ora. Well, kia ora, everyone. Very warm welcome from me and acknowledgements to SBC in a 10-year partnership that's super cool, actually. And one of the examples of how we make progress on sustainability is through collaborating. No one person or organization can go it alone. So wonderful to be an example of SDG 17 in action together. And also acknowledgements to all of you for taking time out today to find out about the program. Imagine you've got a bunch of questions to work out, is it right for you? Is it at the right time? And you might have heard about people bringing a sustainability challenge. So you might have questions about that. What kind of challenge is suitable for this program? So please do at any time pop questions in chat, because we will have this whole time later in the session to dive into them. Bit of background to Catapult. We are certified as a B Corp. Recently, we recertified with a score of 1 to 6.4. If you know the B Corp world, then you'll know that that's one of the highest scores in the world. Yay! We're also a member of the Climate Leaders Coalition and certified climate positive for our business operations, meaning we're better for the planet than what we take away from the planet. Leading SLP and designing it is one of the peak things in my career. I absolutely love it. I nerd out about it. So happy nerd over here. If any of you are also a happy nerd, you can wave your hand at me and I'll know I'm in the right club. So that's a bit of background to Catapult. We specialize in customizing leadership development, and I've been working in this kind of field for about 30 years. Now, key benefits. So we've got this 100% endorsement rate for SLP, which is pretty exceptional. And why is that? Is because of the benefits that people extract from the program. So I thought I'd begin with the end. What is it that people say they get out of it? And Rebecca, thank you. You've already alluded to some of these, and I'm sure Kim and Shannon will be speaking to some of these as well. The first benefit is confidence. We find people working in the field of sustainability, as Rebecca said, only 12% feel equipped. So it's very common to feel the sense of, oh, gosh, I don't know enough. I don't feel like I'm making enough progress. This territory feels quite challenging. There's a lot of obstacles in it. Yes, there's wins, but it's not like you get open door yeses all the way through when you're trying to perhaps convince your board or your senior leadership team or suppliers, your whole value chain. It's very complex. So an increase in confidence to be able to lead on sustainability, which doesn't mean having all the answers, but perhaps means being able to frame the great questions. I'll give you a moment to read a couple of quotes from graduates. So Helene from Chorus, SLP's given me greater confidence and new ways of looking at problems and ways to collaborate. And Michelle Ortega from Frontera, more confidence in her capability, which has led to new ways of interacting and clearer at what she's aiming at and what's needed. In a few moments after we outline the benefits, we'll run a poll, and it's multi-choice, and you can say which of these benefits most calls to you. And then the second benefit, which Rebecca's also talked to, is the connections made. So the nature of the cohort, there's cohorts, say there's around 30 people in a cohort. We very intentionally design all the interactions across the online workshops and during the 2-day. So every person interacts with every other person in a very deep, meaningful way across the course of the program. People report that these connections sustain long after the program. As well as the cohort connections, we also form you into small groups called leader labs. These groups meet between workshops and become like your own personal board of advisors and support and coach and mentor crew. And so through that rich set of connections in those small groups, you also form this really valuable sustainability community. Here's a quote from Samantha of Kaingaora. She expanded her network, connected with professionals from other sectors, so you get this real sense of the overall system of sustainability in New Zealand, and found that these connections continued. The third key benefit is the capability toolkit. Because of the nature of sustainability challenges, by their nature, they're complex, so they can't be solved by an ordinary leadership toolkit. They also can't be solved by just technical skills alone. You can't just know your way into solving them. and you can't solve them by just kind of doing sustainability. You need a unique toolkit customized for complex sustainability challenges. And that's what we've created for SLP. It's not a standard leadership program. It's also not a technical what to know about sustainability, although you will get to know some things. It is a specific leadership toolkit, which I'll go through in a few moments. So really these practical tools to be able to see, make sense of, diagnose sustainability, and then engage with others, collaborate and facilitate systems change, influencing without authority. So as Rebecca mentioned, the Sustainability Professionals research is really telling every year. You may well have participated in it. And it says, as she said, only 12% of people feel equipped, and the skills that they most need are the leadership skills, how to communicate, engage with people, problem solving, and not just everyday technical problem solving, but really complex problem solving. How to craft a strategy, how to integrate sustainability into organizational strategy, building those coalitions and collaborations and partnerships, and other broader leadership skills is what SLP focuses on. Here's a word from Matish, who was with Horizon Energy. He talks about driving consultation and collaboration, being able to embed sustainability into business strategy, and turning some critics into champions through applying the program. Ali, who was with Westland when she did the program, talks about a tool we use called actor mapping. This is where you put your sustainability challenge at the center and you map out rings of other actors or stakeholders involved with that challenge and different segments of stakeholders, and then work out where are the leverage points for influencing and collaborating across that system. And the fourth and key benefit that we all really care about is what's the point of it all? Actually impacting sustainability. So making progress on these tricky challenges together, advancing your organization's sustainability agenda. So people bring in a challenge, a project. Normally it's one they're already working on. And I think Kim and Shannon are going to talk more about their challenge to help you give a sense of what that might look like. And you actually apply the tools to that challenge all the way through the program. And in doing so, you're doing your real job. So it's not extra work, it supports you in actually doing your real job. Here's some examples of what people have been able to accomplish. For Campbell, it involved being able to influence his board to adopt sustainability at the level of on the risk register. So now it's on the board's attention and in that monthly cycle of attention. For Ali from Silver Fern Farms, she didn't just create a water strategy, but also implemented it. So, and which involved embedding sustainability through the whole system of water around Silver Fern Farms. So now I think Alana's going to run a poll of these benefits, and this is multi-choice, so you can be greedy, which most interest you. You can choose as many as you like. Give you a couple of moments. While you're doing this, I'm going to mention a bonus benefit, which is career advancement. So lots of people have advanced their career. For example, Roger Robson-Williams of Plant and Food Research went from point 2 responsibility for sustainability to being the Chief Sustainability Officer of Plant and Food Research. So that's pretty cool too. Okay, do you want to share those results, Alana? We have the leader, joint leader is the connections and advancing. Nice. So you want to have an impact and you don't want to be lonely while doing it. Sustainability can sometimes feel like a lonely job, and it doesn't have to be. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's awesome. Okay. A reminder, any questions you've got as we're going through, please pop your questions into chat and we'll come back to them. Next up, I'll cover what's the actual format and content. So what's the program look like? What does it involve? And what do we cover? There's the getting started phase, which is from now until the first workshop. So you get organizational support, you get approval, you identify a sustainability challenge, again, usually something you're already working on. and what's the relevant sustainable development goal. There's actually a help to that on the Catapult website. It helps you work out what your challenge is, what its qualities might have. Don't miss out on the early bird registration. It's got a good discount by the 27th of Feb or by the 20th of March latest. Then we start opening up the program platform, which has a treasure trove of resources. Pre-work is divided into an essential few and lots of optional extras for those of you who want to nerd out like me. And you have your first forming Leader Lab session using our session agenda. You get together online with your new colleagues who you're going to be traveling with over the next several months. And then we start diving into workshops. There's a meet and greet session where it's really an orientation to the program and one another. What's our intention? How do we navigate all the cool tools and features that we're going to be using, and starting to get to know each other and ways of working. Then there's the 5 2-hour Zoom workshops, which are spaced fortnightly. In between each of those workshops, you have some pre-work for the next session and a Leader Lab session, which is all about how do you apply the previous session, supporting you to apply it to your challenge, but also your work context. And then the pièce de résistance is the 2-day workshop in person in Wellington this year. It was in Auckland last year, which is really very much a peak experience of connecting in person, huge energy. And we use lots of interaction tools all through the program, so it's not a lecture-based format. Yes, I will be doing some key frameworks and inputs, but you'll find there's a lovely rhythm of breakout sessions and so on, where you get to really apply the tools to your own reality. The format of this program is intentionally designed so it's lower emissions than an all-in-person, but also, according to neuroscience, it's much better for our brains to take a bite of something, then learn, apply, digest, reflect on it, and then have another bite of something. It's way more accelerated in retention of learning than if it was just a completely immersive in-person experience. Here's what we actually cover. So we start with what is this thing called sustainability and leadership, and begin by dispelling some myths, one of which is that you have to have all the answers. We come to realize you can't possibly in this field because it's too complex. Give you tools for foresight, futures thinking. What are the global mega trends coming at you and your organization, and how do you map the system around your challenge? So it's really is that zooming out skill to create that executive leadership mindset, the very broad view. And then we dive into the personal. Who are you? What's your purpose? What's your leadership backbone? What's your vision for your impact and your values that are going to guide you? What's your leadership style and other people's styles in your workplace? And what might that mean for modifying how you approach different people to be more influential? And how do you sustain your own resilience while doing this kind of work? Where do you go to restore yourself? And then this really rich toolkit on diagnosing sustainability challenges, which comes out of Harvard Kennedy School, a very proven world-class toolkit on adaptive leadership. It's the how to make progress on complex adaptive challenges where you need to perhaps move mindsets and other people's ways of behaving. How do you collaborate? And then embedding is all around the 2-day workshop. How do you give the work away? So it's not all on your shoulders. It's actually embedded in strategy. It's leading systems change with and through others, influencing, storytelling to create this momentum of influence around you. The way that SLP is structured allows people to learn tools, practice applying them, and get feedback. It's intensely practical and real. So now that's all from me for now. I'm going to hand over to Rebecca to run a Q&A with Shannon and Kim, and then call on any questions from the group.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andrea. I think you've done a beautiful job of creating some colour of what this course is all about and really starting to bring it to life for everyone on the call this morning. I'd like to take that one step further by introducing the lovely Shannon Ball and Kim Jones, who are our 2025 past participants, and ask them a few questions to bring things to life a little bit more. So Shannon, let's start with you. Andrea and I have given a bit of an oversight of why we think SLP is great, but what was your why for joining the SLP program?
Yeah, morena everyone. I guess how I stumbled across SLP, I saw a friend posted about doing the course back in 2004, and I had recently started a new role, and I'd also come back after about 3 years of extended maternity leave, and so I got really excited about the opportunity to kind of being in a new role and having some time out to kind of really level up my sustainability. I had been working in the area for a number of years, but after having this break, thought this was a great chance to kind of set a new foundation. And I could see with my role that I really wanted to be driving impact, and knew how valuable those skills would be for working with that. And anyone who knows me knows that I love an opportunity to network and connect with others. So that was a big draw card for me too.
Excellent, and certainly that is, as we've all mentioned this morning, a huge offering and benefit to this course. I know lots of people on the call will be wondering, as I say, is it for me? Is it the right course for me? So from your perspective, Shannon, who would you say SLP is suited to?
Yeah, I think it is for everyone because it's all about the skills that you're developing, not just the technical knowledge. It means you can come in at any level of sustainability, whether you're just starting or have been doing it for some time, because it's really about those skills. And so I see that them being useful for anyone. And yeah, if you are in a role where you're trying to drive change and having that impact, it's absolutely valuable to have those skills.
Wonderful. Now, we've touched on this concept of a sustainability challenge this morning, and I would love to bring that to life a little bit more. Could you tell us a little bit about the unique sustainability challenge you brought to the program and a bit of an overview, I guess, about it, maybe how it maybe helped you shape and progress that challenge?
Yeah, so part of my role here at the airport is leading our waste program. So I already knew it was going to be, my challenge would be something around waste. Going into it, I think when I submitted my application, I might have had like about 3 options that I was looking at that time. So it was around our waste strategy and plan, introducing reusable coffee cups at the airport, and then there was a third one that I've forgotten, but that was one that I didn't take any further. So that's how I went in, and then in those initial first few workshops, I still was dabbling between the waste strategy, the reusable coffee cups. It did mean I had to do a little bit extra work, but I actually found it really useful to apply the tools to both of those challenges. And yeah, just in terms of like my waste strategy and plan, that's going to be the focus for this year. And the course and those learnings has certainly changed how I'm going to approach it. And I'm really excited about it being a much more effective strategy from the learnings from the course.
That's wonderful. So if anyone's looking to sign up and they kind of go, oh, I don't know, there's so many challenges, there's so much to do, you'd say it's okay if you haven't nailed it all down on registration.
Yeah. Definitely.
Awesome. Okay, so I guess just before we jump over to Kim, I've got one more question, and I'd love to know what's your takeaway? What would you say to somebody who is thinking and on the fence, should I do SLP? What would your key message be?
Most definitely. I think it just, I mean, we've talked about all the benefits, but it's really unique compared to other courses because a lot of the things you're learning are actually just mindset changes. And so they don't take a lot of like learning to learn them. And there's just, so many facets to the course. So my recommendation is just do it. Don't wait. I definitely wish I had done this years ago.
Excellent. It's a wonderful recommendation. We will keep that one in our back pocket. Thank you. That's awesome, Shannon. Now, Shannon is staying around for the Q&A at the end, but if you have any questions for Shannon and Kim now, please do fire them through to chat and we will deal with them as they come through. But Kim, I would love to introduce you into the conversation now. Kim is the Mountains to Sea Conservation Trust co-director. It's lovely to have you with us this morning. Thank you so much. I'd love to know for you, Kim, why? What was your why for SLP?
Yeah, kia ora, Rebecca, and hi everybody. I think for me, I and I'm in a leadership role, so quite often I'm in a mentorship role with my organization, but I really, really like to be mentored and to learn as well. And we'd set a strategic goal for our organization to develop a sustainable funding model. And so, I'd had recommendations from people that I really respected that had done the SLP in the past and say, hey, I really think this could be a good move for you. And it really felt like the time was right with that strategic goal for us. A lot was changing in our operating environment around us, politically, environmentally. We'd just been through a really big scale up to where we were supporting, over 400 catchment groups across the country. But we didn't have clarity on how we were going to maintain that beyond June 2025, but the need was still very much there. So yeah, pretty big why, and felt very motivated and driven to do it and give it my best.
Amazing. And with a why as substantial as that, I guess, what would you say for you personally were some of the key benefits that you took out of the course?
I think sometimes it's really hard to sort of get up on the balcony and take that look down or that helicopter view, to actually make the time to focus in on something that's quite complex. And that's one of the key benefits for me. It gave me that time to really focus in on this, to lock in, and to give that challenge the time that it needed, and the support network, the frameworks, all of the tools that we were learning, and the way that it's really applied means that, it doesn't feel like you're having to take time out of your incredibly busy schedule. It actually feels like it's just adding so much value and benefit to that. So it's a huge benefit to invest that time.
That's awesome, because I know that probably very few people on this call don't have busy schedules to be working with and contending with. So that's really great to hear. If we broaden the scope out a little bit, what do you think the benefits for your organisation were by participating in this course?
Yeah, I think again, just the applied nature of it. As a seasoned environmental educator, I've been involved in that for 20 years. I know how important it is to have applied learning. You can't just kind of see and hear something. You actually need to be engaged in doing it for it to actually stick and become meaningful and useful to you ongoing. So I was really impressed at the different layers of applied learning throughout this course, throughout, not only the workshops and the leader labs, the 2-day in person, but the work that you can do outside of that too. And so, and by the end of it, you've actually got a plan, and you're leading towards that plan throughout the whole process. So that really helped move the dial with our organisation in terms of being able to sustain that level of momentum that we got to through that recent scale up, and we were able to get that sustainable funding model, that strategy, and maintain that momentum, beyond June 2025. So happy to say that things are still going and going well. And because it's an ongoing challenge, as often a lot of challenges are, it's not, sometimes you can't just tick the box and move on, because it's an iterative process. The things that we've learned, we're going to be able to continue to utilize, engage as we move on through, and as our operating environment continues to change. They're benefiting the organisation ongoing for a long time, but because we collaborate with a network of provider organisations around the country, it means that they're benefiting from it as well. So it's not just us.
Yeah, so it's those ripple effects, right? We're seeing those ripple effects continue to reach out, which is awesome. Okay, final question for you, Kim. What is your key message to those on the call today who may be wondering whether this course is for them?
I think if you're here, then it's for you. Genuinely, I think you're obviously here because you want to make an impact. You want to move the dial on sustainability, whether that's in your current role, in your career, or just your personal mission. This program really does give you so much. There's really nothing to lose, except maybe a lack of clarity, which is a good thing, right? So yeah, I just really encourage you to get stuck in and take the leap.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kim. That's awesome. Now, everyone, if you've got questions for Kim or Shannon, we are going to hold time for questions towards the end. So do pop them through, even really kind of practical questions about the course and what it's like to actually be doing the reading and fitting it into schedules and all that sort of thing as well. If there's anything you want to know, pop them through and we will check in again with Kim and Shannon a little bit later on. But now I'm going to pass back to Andrea because she's going to really kind of lift the lid a little bit and give us a real life taste of what this is all about.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rebecca and Shannon and Kim, for your inspiring storytelling. That was really lovely to hear. Now, folks, we're going to get interactive. So to warm your fingers up in chat, could you please say good morning from where you are on the planet right now? Whereabouts are you on the planet? And if you could say good morning and your place, that would be wonderful. Then we know that chat's working and we're ready to go. We're going to do an interactive exercise based on one of the key frameworks from SLP to give you an experience of a model that we use, which people find very, very revealing because sustainability is a systems challenge. How do we make sense of systems and find greater leverage points for change? Just scrolling through here where people are coming in from. We've got Auckland, we've got Wellington, Tamaki and Makaurau, Auckland, Christchurch, Ōtautahi, Melbourne. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to share a slide of the framework and then we'll do some interacting together. The framework is called the iceberg model. And like a physical iceberg, we only see a fraction of the actual iceberg, maybe 10%. Sustainability challenges are just the same. We only see a little bit of it, and we need to work out what's going on below the surface to find better leverage points for driving change. So first off, to distinguish the layers, we've got the events, so sustainability events. In a couple of moments, I'll ask you to say, what are some of the events when it comes to climate change? And some of them are very easy to see because they're things that appear in the news or that you might have even experienced around you in your environment. And then patterns are more the trends over time, what's happening over time. So cumulative events add up to a pattern. And then below that, we have underlying structures. What are the systems that are driving the patterns which are leading to the events? And then at the bottom of it all is mental models. What is the paradigm, way of thinking, value system, or beliefs that are holding these structures in place? So to apply this together to climate change, what are the events in chat? Please put a recent event that you've heard of or been around, something in the news around climate change. What have we got here? We have floods, drought, heat wave. Excellent, you're absolutely spot on. So you're naming one-off events. That's at the event level. Landslides. Now, a human tendency, because we suffer from short-termism, is we tend to react to events. They've got the attention, the press is on it, heat goes on, politicians, what are you going to do about it? And there's often a quick fix phenomenon. And that can lead to further problems down the track if we're just reacting to events. We want to move from reacting to anticipating, designing, and transforming. So next level is patterns. Can you please put in chat, what's a pattern with regard to climate change? What are the trends over time? Increasing what? Decreasing what? What are the patterns over time? Could you put some ideas in chat, please? People are typing. Some of the lower layers are slightly harder to see. Excellent. So increasing weather events, great. Rising sea levels, increasing frequency. Perfect. Yes. So we have the increasing severity and frequency of extreme weather events. We have the increasing temperature of the ocean. Insurance claims. Excellent. Malaria incidents. So we're looking at some of all the flow-on impacts. Lovely. Well, when I say lovely, not lovely, clearly. And then next go to structures. So what are the underlying structures? What are the systems that are driving the patterns? What are the connections between patterns? When you add them all up, it's a system of what? What are the structures? What's driving the patterns? What's driving weather system change? Nice. Carbon dioxide emissions. Yes, increase of greenhouse gas emissions. Increasing temperature. Yeah, that's a pattern driven by GHGs, exactly. So the release of, and some of it's natural, but a lot of it's human caused, as 99.9% of climate scientists align on. The increase of use of and release of greenhouse gas emissions is leading to a phenomenon called global warming, which is leading to all these climatic events. Perfect. Now, harder still, what's the mental models that are driving this? Sometimes this is easy to see when you think about show me the money, honey. So how does money flow? What's the system of what's valued that's driving all of this? Consumption, says Lynn. She called it early. She called it quick. She called it well. Yes, patterns of consumption. What are the other mental models? So we don't live in a circular economy world. We live in a model where it's take what? Darren, this is your speciality. Packaging. Cost, yes. So we're driving for low cost, high profit, which we could call an economic system of. So capitalism, yes. Models of finance, mental models of value, extraction, exactly. Take, make, waste mindset. So there's all these different beliefs and value systems which you could condense into. I think one of the most elegant ways I've ever heard it is an ecosystem way of thinking. So humans are at the top of and superior to and separate from nature. And we can take from it whatever we want to need and externalize the impacts. So shareholder value, not system value, is the mindset that's got us to where we are. So this then tells us how might we go about truly transforming things. We can't just react to events, nor can we just anticipate patterns. We need to actually go about transforming mental models, shifting mindsets, our own, by the way, as well as others. And that's exactly the territory that we dive into in SLP. Thank you so much for participating in that. I know it's like, what? I'm actually participating. I thought I was going to be more like just watching TV, but here we are live. Here's a quote from David Orchard of Silverfern Farms. Acknowledging sustainability can sometimes feel like a big, vague problem and burden to solve. Through SLP, he realized it's a systems problem and has the tools to lead systems change. Fantastic. So I'll cover off how to register, and then I'm going to pass back to Rebecca to see if there's any questions, and also probably you can anticipate some questions that people typically ask. So how do you register? Well, first you get your organizational approvals all done, and then you fill in the registration form on the website. It's as easy as that. It'll ask you to say what your challenge is, relevant SDG goal. If you've got a purchase order number, all good. Don't miss out on that discount. There's also an additional SBC member discount, and you've got my email address there if you want to ask me any questions or even have a short call to work out, is this the program for you? Is now the time? Have you got the right challenge? Cool, awesome. So I'm just going to stop sharing slides and hand back to Rebecca.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Andrea. I hope that that's given everyone on the call a taste of some of the richness of the course and a little bit of a sense of the sort of format that some of your online workshops might take and that sort of thing as well. As Andrea sort of mentioned, they're a rich mix of engaging spaces and breakouts and that sort of thing. So she really does a wonderful job to draw that all together. So we're going to kick off with a few questions, and we'll bring Kim and Shannon back into the mix for this. And we've just had a question come through from Lynn, which is awesome. And yes, a very common question that we get through, Kim. So I wonder, Lynn, Kim, I'll throw this through to you first, and then Shannon, you might have a build for it. But how much out of work time did you find was needed for reading and prep, etc.?
I think it's sort of, because you're applying it to a challenge, it doesn't necessarily feel like out of work because it's something you're working on anyway. But generally, I needed around sort of an hour to 2 hours to do the prep before each session, minimum to really get the most out of it. Yeah, you've got a little bit of kind of homework to do between sessions, so it's making sure that you are actually applying it and making it relevant to your challenge. So yeah, on top of those sort of workshops and the leader labs and things like that, you've got about sort of 1 to 2 hours of work as well in between each session.
Shannon, did you have any builds to make to that?
Yeah, I'll just say I work part-time. I just do 20 hours a week, and I found it was manageable to fit that within my limited hours, and how it kind of flowed as I'd have the 2-hour workshop one week and then the leader lab the week after. As Kim said, there is a little bit of homework aspect to it, and it is a course where the more you put in it, the more you get out of it. So there were certainly weeks where I felt I had more time to do the readings and do the homework, and then other times I didn't. And I think that it's just what you get out of it, and you can kind of juggle your time. And I think, as we've kind of talked about, the value is being able to actually have that time aside for that development, and kind of flip the mindset of, that's what we're spending this time on. This is for my development. And
I think that's really helpful. And a little bit of a build to that, I guess, if you were reflecting on if you were to do the course again, would you have done anything differently to prepare yourself or to organise yourself, I suppose, throughout the program? Shannon, I might come back to you first on that one.
I don't think I would have done it hugely different, to be honest. I think it all worked really nicely. I think we get lots of prompts on what we should be doing when, and so it just kind of there wasn't any like surprises or regrets at the end of it.
Anything from you, Kim, that you would have done differently if you did it again?
Not really. I agree that it's so well structured in terms of the prompts and the suggestions that it makes, that it really helps you to make the most out of it, and whatever that means for you and what your capacity is. I think about you're encouraged to have a mentor, somebody within your organisation that you can have at least a couple of chats with about your challenge, someone internally within your organisation that can also help to, you can enlist them in helping. For me, it was one of our board members, which really, really helped with engaging our board more. And, just what we've already talked about, you're not in this alone, you've got the support network around you. So it encourages you to engage those people around you to help out as well, so you're not feeling alone.
That's excellent. And I think that's a really good point to make. And Andrew, I might come through to you in terms of that idea of selecting a mentor within your business or having a manager to work alongside and meet with throughout the course. How important do you think that component is to the course as a whole?
I think, as Kim's mentioned, it's someone who can both support you but also smooth the way. So choosing that person quite smartly. It's not always your line manager that I'd recommend choosing. I'd go say if you report to the CE, cool, go to the chair, go to someone on the board. It gets quite smart influencing too through the architecture of sponsoring you through the program. They learn about your challenge, and they're introducing you to relevant networks and connections and helping you support you shape the strategy, and then they end up helping you implement the strategy. So it's kind of thinking in that influencing way, who would be a smart person. So people often jump up a couple of tiers from where they may be reporting to. It may be a CE, it may be another executive, and maybe they're the head of ops, and you're not normally reporting through to ops, but they would actually be someone who could help smooth the way. They give you the lived reality of those you're trying to influence and the language of influencing. Shannon, you're nodding there. Anything you'd add?
just totally agree. I mean, they've got the insights on how the business works and can kind of probably put that practical insight on what you're learning as well. Yeah, definitely agree with that.
Good. So if we think about the idea of influencing for a moment, obviously there's a pretty critical point for anyone who wants to join up, and that's building a business case to be able to participate in the program with their organisation. And as we know, there's competing demands for professional development budgets and that sort of thing. So I wonder, Andrea, do you have any advice about how might someone go about making the business case for participating in SLP?
I would build it around the benefits of and the risks of not, right? So always the invisible is the cost of not investing in development. And the most common cost is the loss of engagement and effectiveness when people feel they're not making progress on a role. So actually loss of talent, you don't want to advertise that, perhaps saying, look, I'm leaving unless you invest in me. I wouldn't put it that way, but also the benefits of and tying it up to organizational strategy and the organization's existing sustainability commitments. Hey, we've said we're up for this. We've got these bold, ambitious goals. They're really going to take something, and I need the toolkit to help us advance that. And it's kind of only fair. I find that sustainability professionals are working in the most complex field in the world. And often organizations have the mindset, oh, we've got that handled because we've given it to that person. That person then needs the capability toolkit to be able to actually respond to that challenge.
Absolutely. Would you have anything to add, Shannon, from your experience of building your case for the course?
I'd have to say I'm the case where my manager was very supportive. She already knew about the course. So I'm probably one of the real ones where I just flicked off an email and she's like, sounds good. Well, so maybe depending on your manager. And I'll probably say just ask, be brave and ask as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No. So yeah.
And I think that you raise a really excellent point, Shannon. Earlier in this session, we kind of gave you a quick overview of the types of organisations who've participated in the course before. On the Catapult website, there is a multitude of case studies from some of our past participants where we really illustrate and bring to life the benefits that some people have seen. And depending on the organisation you're from, there may very well be some insights from people who've been through it before from your own organisation as well, if you don't already have a personal connection with someone, which may be really helpful in building that case as well. And one thing I wanted to talk a little bit more about, because Andrea's mentioned the idea of leader labs, which is a really important part of this course, and I think Shannon mentioned the frequency with which you meet with them in between the big workshops. Kim and Shannon, that's like a smaller group that you're together and you spend quite a lot of time with. What do you think the benefits of having that kind of leader lab focus to the course was, including that in the mix? Maybe start with you, Kim. What were the benefits of that leader lab for you?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, our leader lab still meets regularly today. And it was really great because it gave some focus time to come together as a group and reflect on what we've been learning and what we've been experiencing as we were applying it as well. And often other people's reflections would add even more value to what you were learning, and you had this kind of extra support network as well that you could kind of lean on in between and get to know even more. So when you come to the 2-day workshop, you've already got that kind of core group there as well. So yeah, it's hugely benefit, and I think it speaks to the value of it that we're still meeting today, obviously. Yeah,
absolutely. I think there's something buzzy, isn't there, about spending all this time with a small group online and then coming together in person at the 2-day workshop and finally putting bodies and real people to the faces, which is really, really lovely. Shannon, did you have anything to add on the leader lab front?
Yeah, it was definitely a highlight for me. I loved my leader lab, and I'd consider us all pretty good friends now. And I do remember when I met one of my leader lab people who was here in Christchurch with me. It actually took me a few moments to realise that was my first time meeting her in person, because we had so many sessions together. I hadn't quite twigged. And we're the same as Kim. We still meet every other month, and just just being able to, because we were kind of had this similar challenges we were working on, as well as talking about our own challenges, we were talking about some of the other little sideline initiatives we were working on. So it was a really good like sharing initiative sort of thing. And yeah, we have a WhatsApp chat going, and often we'll post and share things in there still today. So yeah, I reckon that's a really unique and awesome feature of SLP.
That's wonderful. And Andrea, Janet's asked how the leader labs are put together. Are they based on similar challenges, or are they completely random?
Random would be quicker for me to do. Janet, I take about half a day over this. I have everyone's registration form out. I think about the nature of their challenge, the nature of the organisation, and there's this tension between similar challenge but wanting diversity of organisation, so that you're mapping a similar system. Say you're all working on waste. Okay, great. We've got something in common. But within that, I don't want too many councils together or too many just private sector get together. I go for that that combination of a mix of public, private, not-for-profit if we can. By the way, we also give some not-for-profit scholarships each year. So please let your not-for-profit colleagues know that applications closed 27th of Feb for that. Kim was one of the scholarship recipients last year. And otherwise, not-for-profit doesn't get the opportunity to do development like this. And they're a really vital part of the system, right? So yeah, so commonality of challenge area, but diversity of role and organisation. Also, I think about how long people have been doing sustainability and try and match, but mix a little maturity, because we can actually do a lot of mentoring of one another across that longevity.
A lot of deep
Bit of
thought.
secret sauce.
yeah, absolutely. But mostly come together beautifully, and is a wonderful way to connect in with people. And as Shannon and Kim have so eloquently described, really form really deep connections that are ongoing. I was just emailing someone from my own 2022 Leader Lab this week as well, actually. So those connections do just keep going. We're almost at time for questions, so just want one last call from those who are here this morning. If there's any other burning questions you have or anything else you want to know. Obviously, this doesn't end the opportunity for questions. If you do want to know more, you are more than welcome to get in touch, send us an email. Either Andrew or I will come back to you with answers to those details. We will also provide a recording to this session this morning as well. So if there's anyone in your networks you would like to share it with, or please do, and we'll come back to you with all the information that you need in one handy email place as well. But for now, I would just love to thank Shannon and Kim for your time this morning and for the amazing insights that you've shared with us through this Q&A. It's been wonderful to be able to bring things to life in a real way from participants who have not long completed the last course. So thank you so much. And Andrea, I will hand back to you to close us out.
Well, beautiful. So thank you all for your energy, attention, commitment, and your organisation's commitment to advancing sustainability. It's a hugely rewarding territory to work in. It's one where you see these issues. I don't think you can unsee them or choose to work anywhere else. So if this calls to you, I really hope to see you in this year's cohort and work with you. So thank you all very much for taking the time. It's greatly appreciated. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Ka kite.